recently I've decided to channel my inner bad girl, or at least that's what it feels like, and start vaporizing. Now, I'm not vaporizing whatever chemical stuff that you think of when it comes to e-cigarettes. I am vaporizing herbs, and I'm starting with that. I'm not vaporizing tobacco, I'm not vaporizing cannabis, although I did, when I went and bought my vaporizers, they gave me some hemp, which is CBD, which has the relaxing effects, but not the psychoactive effects that cannabis does. And I am doing this because I am very interested in connecting more with plants and plant wisdom and understanding more about the effects that herbs have on our body. I've been interested in this for a while now. I've been accumulating a collection of different herbs, and what I do is I'll drink teas of them with just like the plain herb by itself, so I can get a sense of what that tastes and feels like. And I've started mixing my own herbal blends for tea as well. I'll often do it intuitively, just kind of what I think would go well together, or what I just think would be good or feel like would be good more than thinking. I'm in the more feeling state there where I'm like, oh, I feel like this would be this would be good. And then when I'm in more of the thinking side, I will look at the ingredients on a box of tea that I like, herbal tea specifically that I like, and then try to replicate it myself. Now, I've heard the term thrown around like tisane for herbal teas, because technically herbal teas aren't so-called tea of the tea leaf. Tea is a leaf, and depending on at what stage it is when it's been growing, you have black tea, green tea. I'm actually not sure if oolong is from the same leaf or not. I have to check on that. But caffeinated teas are usually from the tea leaf. I'm just now I'm kind of second guessing myself about oolong and white tea. But the rest of the teas that are herbal teas do not have the tea leaf, but we just call them tea because we associate tea with the hot beverage of steeping some kind of herb or leaf into water. So we call it tea. But perhaps the more accurate term is tisane. I'm not quite sure. But it's been quite an adventure with this vaporization journey. I have dabbled with it when I've been visiting different people that I know and respect as healers who have the volcano vaporizer. That's really been the main vaporizer that I've ever interacted with. And I'll usually kind of just go off of what their setup is. Sometimes I'll make so the volcano, if you're not familiar with it, it has like a little basket that you fill with whatever herbs you want. And then you stick it on top of the heating mechanism, which is volcano shaped. You kind of start it so that the heat starts blowing through the herbs, and then you stick this big plastic bag on top. It's a special bag. It's not like just a Walmart bag or something. And then the bag fills with the vapor, and then once it's full, you take it off. There's a mouthpiece, and then you start inhaling the vapor from that bag. So whenever I've made bags, it's usually been following an intuitive feeling process based off of the herbs that they have available. And so I was gonna buy a volcano. Then my husband is like, he was like, that is so expensive. Why don't you get like a hookah and see if you even like smoking in the first place? So, and he kind of convinced me that a hookah like design would be more aesthetically appealing to me as well. And I have to agree with him. It's kind of prettier looking than the volcano and the like crinkly plastic bags you have to smoke. So I did get a hookah, but I did not buy the specialty tobacco that you're supposed to use for a hookah. I had no idea what I was doing. I went to Istanbul years ago and smoked the nargile there. In Serbia, they call it nargila, so maybe it's nargile. I'm not sure, but which is what they call hookah, and had so much fun doing that. I remember one time I was at a store with some people, some other students I was traveling with, and I wasn't like interested in what they were looking at necessarily, so the shopkeeper offered me a puff from his nargila, and I did, and oh my god, it was so strong. Like, he had whatever the real stuff was, and like what we had been smoking at those little restaurants or whatever was much more for tourists, I imagine. So anyway, I got the hookah, and it's a water pipe, but then a water pipe is something different than a hookah, I guess. But what it does is like it's this pipe, and it has water, and the water then is you draw in the water from the area, and the water is actually supposed to kind of produce a bit of a cooling effect. Yeah, so I put herbs in. Well, I decided to start with mugwort with my hookah. So I put the mugwort at the top of the I put the mugwort at the top of the little hookah bowl thing and started using it. And it didn't quite work the way I was expecting it to. I was expecting it to, produce smoke. But no, I kind of got one puff of smoke, and then the rest of it was just like, I think, really charcoal, because you have to put charcoal on top. You put the herb in this bowl, and then you put like foil on it with some holes in the foil so that air gets through, and then you put charcoal on top. And I tried 1, 2, 3, 4 charcoals, did not affect the amount of smoke produced, probably just burned the herb more. Mugwort. I was working with mugwort, and so yeah, it didn't really work. And then I just realized, I looked into what you're supposed to do for hookah tobacco, and it's supposed to be coated in molasses or honey or both, and a lot of people use vegetable glycerin to help make it even smokier. So I was like, well, I don't want to have to do that. That's like kind of a lot of work. Like, I'd have to, because I don't trust I could probably find a good organic source, but I'm also not eating sugar right now because I'm doing a fungal cleanse. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to be smoking sugar. That defeats the purpose. So I okay, back to square one, let me get a volcano. So I tried to order a volcano online, and didn't work. The people who own it, who run it, are called Stores in Bickle. They told me that either I'd have to do some kind of weird thing for the payment, or just use the store lookup to find a store that sells it. And I found this store, and I was like, it's actually better to go to a store because I don't know what I'm doing. I feel okay about using the volcano because I've used it enough with other people, but just in general about what are the options with all this like smoking stuff, I really know nothing. So let me just go ask. And so I did. And there was this lady there who was just super kind, answering all my questions, telling me about different pipes and water pipes and blah, blah, blah. And it was really helpful and encouraging. And so I ended up buying a volcano from her. And I bought the PAX Plus vaporizer, which somebody had told me about for herbs. So I've been experimenting with both of those. I do not claim to be an expert yet. I bought the volcano hybrid because that's just what they had at the store. I didn't really care about the tube thing or the precise temperature settings. I actually really would have wanted the classic, but it's all right. I got the hybrid, and I already like they call it the valve where you fill the herbs. Part of it's broken, and so now I'm like, I need another replacement. I need a replacement for that. So I emailed the company. Let's see what they say. But it's like, I only got this a few weeks ago. So I tried out the packs, and so far, if you are interested in just trying out, like, what my goal is to get familiar with each herb one by one, that has been the best so far, because it's not a super big chamber you have to fill, but you still get enough puffs to feel like you're having a good session. Like, it's not just like one puff and done. You feel like, okay, like I'm able to take my time with this. And I had the best vapor produced with mugwort that I've had with anything. And it's just simple to use. It's very small and sleek. So that's been my favorite so far, actually. And I recommend that. And I will definitely share more about this journey once I've learned more. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a challenge for me because I grew up being taught smoking is bad, and like cigarette smokers are rude people and all this stuff. And as an asthmatic, I definitely am triggered. My lungs get triggered when I am around too much cigarette smoke, which is a challenge in Serbia, where everyone's smoking in the restaurants, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law smoke a lot. But they're very kind, and when I'm coming over, they'll open up the windows and air it out and don't smoke in front of me. Like, he'll go and smoke on the balcony. So that's helpful. But yeah, this herbal vaporizing has been a fun adventure so far.